You should download TikTok, it's addictive. It still feels surreal to say those words and actually believe that somebody said them. Of course, this somebody is someone who isn't that bright. No one at all would look up to them. Someone who quite clearly doesn't take care of their life, their mental health, their physical health. The person in question is the manager. The person in question was the manager that I had when I worked as a delivery driver for Domino's. And this female manager grew to like me and kind of have a crush on me. And so that of course meant that she would spend a lot of time talking to me and showing me stuff. And one time she showed me a TikTok where her car was in the background. And she just showed me it and then asked me if I have TikTok. Now at that point I actually didn't, and I wasn't really on board with the whole thing. Although I use social media, I very much used Instagram at the time and watched YouTube, I imagine. I didn't use TikTok, and so I said, no, I don't have TikTok. And she said, you should download TikTok, it's addictive. Now, of course, that didn't sway me one bit. I just didn't care what she said and moved on. But I never forgot that, and it has kept coming up in my mind, even very recently. And so I just knew that I needed to make a video on this to not only spread a message about how degenerate people can truly be, but also to just help my mind stop thinking about that stupid sentence. And after having thought about it for at least a bit, I now understand that that sentence could be uttered by so many people in this world. Simply because brain dead, degenerate people want to indulge in something that takes them away from their shitty current life. So much so that they literally want to numb their brain with something that they're looking at on their phone so they so they don't have to live and experience their current life. Now, this manager was brain dead, was a degenerate. She was quite overweight. If I'm not mistaken, was working the only job she's ever had and just stuck to it. Then finding out the cars that she has had are all of the same model. So it literally means that the first car that she had was one model, and then the next car she bought was the newer model of the first car, and then the car that she had currently was the newer version of the second car. And so, although that's quite insignificant, I understand that that is quite clearly comfort and not wanting to have to adjust to something new. And one last thing is that there was another time where she was showing me funny videos on her phone, or funny photos, whatever, and she showed me a few things and they were all from inside the store. And then she scrolled more and was kind of trying to find something but wasn't able to, and everything I seen, every photo and video pretty much, was from inside the Domino's store, which shows me that she literally has no life outside of work, and not even in a good way. It's not because she works so hard and is so dedicated that she has no time to do anything else. She has plenty. Well, she may not have a lot of time because she was the main manager, and so she had a lot of responsibilities and had a lot of work to do. But besides that, she literally has no life. I think the people that she went out drinking with were her siblings. Not even go out, stay inside and drink with. And so it literally meant that her entire life was working at that store. And you may be saying to yourself that what I just said isn't much of a problem. And that would be true, because the woman in question wasn't attractive, wasn't appealing, and on top of that, I'm very stubborn and I don't like to change things for the sake of others. But take that exact same scenario with an attractive female and with a kind of desperate and lonely man. And take, for example, the woman is showing the man something on her phone. It's a funny TikTok and she wanted to share it with him. And the woman says to the man, do you have TikTok? And he says, no, I actually never got around to downloading it. It's not something that was really for me. And she says, you should download TikTok, it's addictive. And this man, this desperate, lonely man who craves female validation, what is he going to do? He gets no other attention from females, and this is his chance to please this woman. So he's going to do what she says. And he's going to download TikTok and follow her on it, and then share TikToks with her, and waste so much time watching TikToks purely because he wanted to get validation from this one woman. And with what I just described, does that seem like an absolutely outlandish scenario where it would never happen at all? In my mind at least, that sounds like an incredibly common scenario, because not only how many people in the world watch TikTok, but also how many women watch TikTok. Because of course women like to be in the moment, have fun, they're not really set out for pursuing and achieving difficult goals and achieving a purpose in life. So they kind of do go with the flow, and they do what is most enjoyable, or whatever they flow towards doing. And like I said, I imagine that scenario is unbelievably common, and it very well may happen to you, and you need to do your absolute best to make sure you stay grounded. Remember your morals and what is right, and do not listen to bullshit like that. And if you do follow through with that and reject the modern mainstream social media usage, and basically just reject anybody who tries to get you onto doing anything on social media at all, and so you do that and reject it, which is absolutely fantastic, but then it is so likely for you to get ostracized from whatever group you're in. Because back when I started my sales job, my first shift with the manager there, he was speaking to me quite a bit, trying to get to know me, expressing what he likes, and just kind of finding the balance between the two, and kind of just getting comfortable with me. And he talked about Netflix shows and Netflix movies, and I told him that like I literally don't watch anything. But although I don't watch anything, I'm quite interested to listen about what he watches, because I guess I can take away some things from a documentary or whatever. So he tried to talk to me about TV shows and movies, and I kind of dismissed it because I don't watch anything. And then some time passed that shift, and then some women were running in front of the shop because there's a gym nearby. And then he came over to me and said, "It's a good thing that the store is where it is, because we get to see pretty women running back and forth across the shop." I'm pretty sure I didn't say anything at all. Might have smiled or kind of just like nodded in agreement or whatever. And then he showed me the Facebook profile of the woman who owns that gym. And he showed me and basically hinted at like how attractive she is. And good thing that I know this woman, because she was my primary school teacher. So I was able to say something, because otherwise I would have had nothing to say. And then a few words were exchanged, and then we moved on. But I'm pretty sure that he picked up that I wasn't really interested in those things that he tried to talk to me about. And after that, he really kind of stopped talking to me. And the only conversations we really had were about the shop, or if I asked them about sales or whatever. So honestly, it is by the same token with this sales manager, because he was pushing me towards degeneracy, because he only wanted to talk about the things that he wanted to talk about. And because I didn't want to, he really didn't talk to me anymore. But if there was another man in my position who kind of wanted validation, didn't want to be excluded, he would have agreed and started staring at the women running across the store, and started watching TV shows and movies so that he had something to talk about with this manager. Whether purposely or not, by talking about the degenerate things such as watching TV shows and movies, or staring at women who are never going to give you attention. And if another man was in my position who kind of didn't want to be left out and didn't want to be excluded from the group kind of, he would have started staring at the women running by who are never going to give him attention. And he's going to start watching movies and TV shows so that he could relate and talk to the manager and have any sort of conversation with him. But because I didn't, the manager didn't like that and kind of stopped talking to me, all because I didn't follow his degenerate ways. So like I said, it is by the same token, because I didn't do this degenerate activity and I suffered in a way for it. And that really is how the vast majority of people operate now. They maybe try some degenerate activities when they are young, and then they start using the internet more and see that other people are trying to be relatable by saying that they also do these degenerate activities, or when you're doing this and this happens. And basically anything posted on the internet about degenerate activities are solely for the purpose of gaining views, attention, and interaction. Because you're not going to get those things if you post something that goes against the grain of what most people do. And what most people do is degenerate activities. Because they're easy, they're instantly pleasurable, and most people do it anyway. So you would be weird if you didn't do these degenerate, fun, relaxing activities. So you need to stay very strong and vigilant in this modern society where everybody is doing degenerate activities and wants to pull you down with. But if you need any help with that sort of problem, there's a link in the description where you can join my Discord community where there are fellow ambitious masculine men trying to get away from the same thing and trying to become the absolute best version of themselves. Put in enough time and attention because that will make anything into reality.